Yeah, I like it cold, but I grew up in a, house that was 100 years old, and we didn't have, am I sitting in your seat? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Scoot over.
Today, the 20th?
No, you can sit there.
21st? No,
Um,
20.
it was like 100 years old, and like, there was like no heat upstairs, just like the vent, just
Well, no, he's already.
Okay, then
Before we,
I mean,
before we
as
get to
long as
roll call, I wanna make a point to make sure that everybody notices that, Tim was spot on matching his socks to his shirt today.
Nice.
Oh, my God.
And he's leading the fashion of Trumbull County bystanders, so.
He's swapping.
Yeah, at least he wears his G-rated socks here.
I don't get it.
I'll tell you later.
I don't think we wanna know.
Explain.
Yeah. I don't wanna know.
It's the quiet ones you have to watch, let's say that.
I think those other ones are called stockings, not. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Malloy,
Here.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Here.
Ms. Frenchco.
Okay, this will be the, workshop, in preparation for the regular meeting, August 21st tomorrow. And, item one, commence with the reading of the minutes of the August 13th and 14th. 2, approve the bills. 3, approve additional appropriations. Auditor Yoder.
Okay, Board of Elections, poll work, the first one is for fiscal year 24 poll worker training grant. The second one is fiscal year 24 November readiness grant. Domestic relations and juvenile court, the first one is needed for additional seminars and training. The second one is to pay guardian ad litem fees. Planning Commission is to account for the Tax Incentive Review Council activity transferred from the general fund. Just to explain a little bit about that, the TIRC, the Tax Incentive Review Council, collects fees, and up until just recently, those fees were just sitting there in the general fund, and we weren't utilizing them. And Mr. Coggins and I worked together to start using it to kind of reimburse the work that they do. Starting next year, we're gonna set up a way to account for the work that's being done in my office as prep for that. And so that'll, help ease a little bit from, the general fund, by, utilizing that for some of, the work that we're doing for the TIRC. It's just been sitting there, it wasn't being used, so we started doing that. Sheriff and TAG is for fiscal year 25, TAG Drug Task Force Grant. The decrease of appropriations, number 4, domestic relations juvenile court is the closing, both of those are actually closing of fiscal year 24 juvenile grants. Transfer of appropriations.
What's that mean?
So those grants, they're sort of like, almost like reimbursable grants, and so they appropriate as much, what they think it's going to be, and then they utilize the grant itself, and then once they're done utilizing the grant, there's money left in that appropriation that they didn't utilize, and so it's not money that's actually, it's kind of like not there, right? It's money that they're anticipating that they're gonna receive, but then they didn't, it's a reimbursable grant, so they have to do an activity to receive that. They draw down. So they didn't draw down as much as they anticipated that they were, so they decreased the appropriation. Transfer of appropriations, the Board of Health is additional operating supplies, Central Court is additional seminars and training, the coroner is Moreland Connect service, it's, IT services. Court of Appeals is needed for computer service and software. Dog kennel is needed for computer service and software. Domestic relations juvenile court is refreshment services. Please don't ask me what that is. That's all we have written down. Ask them. Highway is for the Genesee and Elm Road project. NeoCap is to cover expected shortages. Planning Commission is for training, and Bob gets to talk about sanitary engineer.
Bob Maiorano, sanitary engineers. The $10,000 is to relocate electric service for our Yankee Lake pump station. And the $8,000 one is for additional funds for our Southeast Water District's electric.
Okay. Thank you. Number 6, adopt a resolution approving the attached list of purchase orders to the various vendors of then and now purchase orders in compliance with ORC 5704. Is there an attached list somewhere?
Oh, I'm gonna put submitted list in here.
Right, and that's just what we've been working on the then and now makes us compliant, but it's not best practice. We're trying to eliminate that as much as we can, but it's hard, it's a big county and not everybody always listens, so, but we are making progress in getting there.
Okay. Notify, Department of Liquor Control that a public hearing is not requested on the following liquor permit application. Freers, doing business as Isaac's Drive-Thru on Elm Road in Howland is a new application. And then notify the Department of Liquor Control the public hearing is not requested on the transfer from Champion Lanes and Entertainment Company to Champion Bowl and Entertainment Company, doing business as Champion Lanes and Long Boys Tavern and Patio. Number 9, approve the amendments to the bylaws of the Workforce Development Board of Trumbull County. On August 8th, 2024, the Bylaws Committee met for its annual review. It's necessary to initiate the bylaws for the Workforce Development Board to follow and its operation under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. The amendments to the bylaws shall be recorded in the Journal for record purposes and per recommendations of Dimitri. And
Yes, sir.
they were approved August 15th, 2024 by the Bylaws Committee.
Yes, really nothing to add to that. On an annual basis.
That name.
Oh, Dimitri Leogas, Workforce Development Board. On an annual basis, we have a specific committee in our Workforce Development Board that reviews the bylaws and tweaks them. If new laws come out, we have to modify those bylaws in order to stay in line with those. Past few years with the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, there really hasn't been very many changes. However, there is some tweaks to the language that we put this year. Did you want me to go over any of the changes, or I sent them to you? Everything that I issued you guys is highlighted of any changes, just some minor grammatical things. We included under proxy delegate, we included delegate so that they can attend the meetings, and we also made it the delegates count towards quorum, because we tend to have a little bit of trouble reaching quorum on occasion. So in our bylaws, we wanted to amend that to, if somebody sends a delegate, that they count towards the quorum requirement so that we can take actions on things as necessary. Also, we made sure that we took away some things. Instead of under the officers, instead of selection, it's election, because we do elect our officers in our board meetings. And
Where's that at, Dimitri?
oh, I'm sorry, section 5 under officers.
Okay. Oh, I see.
And then right below it is the vice chairperson. We had it as the vice chair should be a private sector business representative. That's not necessary.
Okay.
The law only requires the president or the chairman of the workforce board to be a business entity. So we took that out because our current vice chair right now is Mark Ragazine from Eastgate. So we just to make sure we're in compliance with that. If we don't need it, let's take it out. And then next page is we did identify our executive committee. Our executive committee comprises of the officers and the standing committee chairpersons, so they can act on behalf of the board when there's a time-sensitive issue or something to that effect. And then as a requirement, all actions taken from that executive committee is reported to the board at the next meeting.
So that's new.
Yes, that's new, and just so we can do so. And also on the last page, it's under the Robert's Rules of Order. All proceedings of the board are governed by Robert's Rules of Order unless otherwise noted in the bylaws. An example of that is we put that in because under Robert's Rules of Order, a proxy does not count towards quorum. Since we make the proxy count towards quorum, we wanted to make sure that allows us to do so. So other than that, and then just the dates of the amendments, pretty much that's it for the changes to the bylaws. You know, if you guys don't know already, we expect a new law to be coming down the pike here. It's called ASWA, and I can't remember what the name of it is, but it will replace the WIOA, Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. And then once that changes, then of course our bylaws will change to remain in compliance with the new law. so.
Do we know anything about the law, what it's gonna be changing, or?
It's mostly, well, what it does is there's a Senate version and a House version. According to the meetings I've been in, is the Senate version is more applicable towards currently what we're doing. There's the one major change is that we're keeping an eye on as a local, is that it allows the governor, much more, leniency to create areas, workforce areas. Right now, we are a standalone workforce area. So if the governor decides, you know, now it's gonna be Ashtabula
A
in
regional type?
regional thing, then he has every right to do so. Under the old law, it allowed us to say we want to remain as a separate entity, which we're gonna continue to do so because, of course, we meet our performance and our expenditures and things like that effect. But that'd be, it's totally up, under the new law, the way it's written right now, under the Senate version, it allows him to do whatever he wants as far as, creating those areas. He may increase them, he may, you know, instead, we have 21 areas right now, he may increase to, guess what? Now we're gonna reduce it to 6, so then all of a sudden, now you got these huge regions in the area. It's totally up to the governor at this point, under the proposed law. Right now, they're negotiating between the House and the Senate, and hopefully, and they don't anticipate anything until the new year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Demetri, is there a way, can you send this over? You know,
I
the
sent it
minutes?
all I sent it all, the minutes too? Yeah. I
Just
can
something
send
where we can see who the voting members are on the board, and you said you had, you know, there is a clause in here for attendance that the commissioners can remove board members based on attendance and things. Is there a way we can just see an update of whatever your current board members? and-
Absolutely, a board list?
Yeah, that'd be
Absolutely,
good.
sure, no problem at all. And then the next.
Just send that to all three of us,
Yeah,
whenever
of
you
course.
can.
Okay, and the next agenda item is mine as well. What we're asking for is to award and enter an agreement, the lowest and best proposals received, to provide youth services through the WIOA Comprehensive Case Management System, or grant, not to exceed the proposed amounts. The RFP selectees will provide youth services as they pertain to the 14 elements of youth development towards employment. Proposals were evaluated, ranked, and awarded by the Workforce Development Board at the August 15th board meeting. In the past, Bim and I used to evaluate the RFPs, but since Bim left, I was by myself, so I requested a team from the board, and we got a 4-person evaluation team, which included 2 board members, the OMJ operator, Kim Burrell, and then myself. So we had 3 proposals that we received. We got into very fine detail as to the evaluations. We were independently evaluated, and then we discussed them afterwards. And 3 proposals took us 3 hours, so we had a lot of good conversation as to the 3 proposals. And what we're asking for now is approval to enter into agreement with Youth Build, CMHA, and Jobs for Ohio's Grads, for youth services for the upcoming years. What we strategically did is it's actually a 13-month initial contract so that it aligns with the TANF CCMEP program, because those are intertwined, so we wanted to create the dates so that they so that they expired and started New Year's at the same time, and then two extensions possible, 1 year. So we strategically did 1 + 1 + 1, so that if one of the vendors is non-compliant, we can address that issue, or if the new law comes to fruition, then we can just immediately go to a new RFP or what have you, so we're in compliance with the new law. So those were the strategic reasons why we did it in a 1 + 1 + 1 situation. So what we're doing is we're asking, United Labor Agency, they submitted a proposal. As you can see, it was a little high, and also there was no things that concerned us was there was no bricks and mortar, everything was remote. So that concerned us, a youth with no real resources has to wait till next Tuesday when somebody from Cleveland can come down here to address an issue. So that was one of the negatives, unfortunately, and unfortunately, the proposal was a little high, and we had a total of $898,000 to issue out. So, we felt better by being able to have 2 vendors to provide youth services than putting all our eggs in one basket with the third vendor.
Yeah, very good.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 11, approve a resolution to commit $100,000 in ARP funds to the resurfacing of McCleary Jacoby Road from State Route 46 to State Route 305. The resolution of commitment is necessary for Bezetta Township to apply for OPWC funding for said project. And recommendation of the auditor's office in conjunction with the engineers department.
Do you need any explanation?
A little bit.
All right, Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. So the McCleary Jacoby Road, as you know, you've frozen $100,000 for Bezetta to use for that, and we're doing it they're doing it similarly to how Vernon, the road project that Vernon did. They are working on the actual agreement between, Ms. Rogers is working on it between between Bezetta, the engineer's office, and our office, and your office, which you will, when that's complete, you'll approve that in the same way that you did the one with Vernon. In the meantime, this is a project that, they're sort of cobbling together several different sources, and in order to apply for the OPWC part of it, the engineer's office needed a resolution of commitment so that they could help Bezetta do that. With the, we know that it's your intent to do that project, you guys have expressed that, and Attorney Rogers is working on it, but it's needed, this, resolution is needed in a timely manner. I believe he needs it by the 29th, in order to complete this. So, Mr. Schaefer and I worked on the resolution together. Mr. Danzo looked at it as to form, but also requested that we double check with Attorney Rogers that it was indeed an eligible project, because we haven't done, it's a little different than all the other ones. So once she got back in town, I did email with her, and we've verified that it's the same kind of project as Vernon, and so she felt comfortable in allowing this to go forward. She also looked at the resolution.
12, concur with the special hauling permit for Jarrow. Concur with Trumbull County engineer with special supplier fleet permit for Lake Erie Golf Cars and Cooper and Sons Cartage. Concur with engineer right away for SET Inc. And 15, award a price proposal to Miller Yacht for the Howland Scope Center parking lot resurfacing project in the amount of $51,564, being paid through a fund that was included as part of a 2023 CDBG Community Development Grant Program, approved May 9th in the Journal, benefiting the Howland Scope Center facility on High Street in Warren. Authorized Board of Trumbull County Commissioners to enter into contract agreement with Miller Yacht in order to meet the rules and regulations of the CDBG program and local requirements, per recommendation of Emily Moran. And 13 contractors, got the request for proposal. 2 were returned by the deadline. Miller Yacht was about $20,000 less than GPD Group. Anything more on that, Julie? Julie Green?
Julie Green, Trumbull County Planning. GPD Group's, estimate was $71,000. I'm not sure what the second lowest bid was, because I don't think it was in here, but it was in the attachment. That was the only thing I wanted to add.
Right. Well, it said 2 proposals were returned by the deadline, so it'll be
Right.
Miller Yacht and GPD Group, so.
No, GPD Group is the engineering firm who put together the engineer's
Oh,
estimate
okay,
and technical
my bad,
specs.
my bad,
That's
yep.
okay. I just wanted to clarify that, and, yeah, this is part of the larger, project to rehabilitate the Howland Scope Center. So they'll have the parking lot, and also the building is going to be rehabilitated as well.
Okay.
So I think this is the second of
And
three.
that'll be under some grant program also?
Well, yeah, these were all approved under the PY 2023 CDBG grant.
Okay, 16, authorize the advertisement and public notice in the newspaper general circulation on Friday, August 30th, announcing the PY 2024 CDBG RPIG second public hearing for the Pendleton Gilmore Sanitary Sewer Project, located in the low and moderate income consent decree area of Meadowbrook and Warren Township, and authorize Trumbull County Planning Commission to prepare and submit the application in the amount of $750,000. And authorize President of the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, Denny Malloy, to sign and execute any and all documents related to the application, administration, receipt, execution, and implementation of funds received through PY 2024 CDBG RPIG. The advertising will be paid from fund number 225 and so on. Our recommendation of Emily Moran. And the second public hearing is to gather comments regarding sanitary sewer project scheduled for 7 p.m. on Tuesday, September 10th, at the Johnson Community Center. Shall be posted on the bulletin board next to Commissioner's hearing room. And the Planning Commission is working with sanitary engineer. Gary or Julie on this?
Julie Green, our office, submitted this through the Planning Commission in working with Gary Newbrow. I think we discussed this at previous, public meetings, that the initial plan was to submit an RPIG grant for the Meadowbrook part of this project. And because the deadlines for applying and receiving these funds did not align with the WDA principal forgiveness funds for the Meadowbrook, we decided to move on to the second phase. We will not be able to submit a full granting application for this project until we receive a permit to install from the state. So as soon as, we've already begun working on the grant application itself, and so as soon as we receive that permit to install from the sanitary engineers, and hopefully the state will open the portal for this project soon, then we'll be able to, be considered for funding. Again, it's been a real challenge trying to line up the deadlines, because for these projects, Gary can speak to this, there's 4 or 5 different funding sources, and everybody wants to be last in. And so, the challenge is making it affordable to the residents and then meeting your deadlines.
All right. Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. We discussed this before. For the county to get the $4 million in principal forgiveness for the Meadowbrook project, we have to award a contract somewhere in mid-November in order to get that $4 million. That doesn't line up with the CDBG grant for Meadowbrook with the way that they have altered the schedule. We've never had this problem before, but something has changed where the scheduling doesn't work. So we're trying to get ahead of the game, and let's get to the second part of that Meadowbrook area, which is Pendleton Gilmore, and put in the CDBG application this round, so it's ready for next year.
Just be advised, I'm not in town on September 10th, so.
Okay, well, this is just a CDBG public hearing.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
isn't the big public hearing,
Okay,
okay?
so it doesn't require a vote of the commissioners?
No,
Quorum.
you're attending.
I just wanna make sure I didn't
Yeah.
screw anything up with that date, so.
Yeah, the commissioners don't even normally attend these. Julie and Emily set it up. I'll go down to provide some information, questions, but it's much less formal.
Yeah.
Than.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that then. Okay. And 17, award a contract to TK Excavating and Grading for the Townsend Avenue Storm Drainage Infrastructure Improvement Project funded through PY Community Development Block Grant, Critical Infrastructure Grant Program, CDBG Revolving Loan Fund, in the amount of $368,149. Part of the project is to be paid from a different fund, the balance to be paid from CDBG RLF fund for Emily Moran again. And Julie?
Julie Green, Trumbull County Planning Commission. And so this particular, bid opening, there were some bid irregularities where the, low bidder did not include a, can you remember? Delinquent tax affidavit, and there was another item that they did not include. I think it was a W-9 form. So those are 2 forms that we would typically request of the lowest and best after the award is made. And so both GPD and Bill Danzo were consulted on this, and we don't feel that it warrants rejecting them based on that, particularly since the budget for this is grant funded. and the next lowest bid is $30,000 higher. We cannot increase the grant budget. In order for us to award this grant, this project, under, this current bid process, we're going to have to, take an additional $24,847 from the revolving loan fund. And we anticipated this when we applied for these funds. We knew that the inflation would continually rise, and so at that time, we asked the state, we anticipate we're gonna need additional RLF funds, and their response was, that's fine, we understand that. There's no need to, come back to the state for that sort of approval. We will probably need to discuss it we will need to modify the resolution, most likely, that the commissioners initially passed on this, and also take it to the revolving loan fund for their ratification. But as I explained before, with the revolving loan fund, the state of Ohio wants us to spend down that entire balance. They do not want us to have a balance on that account. And so with all of these projects coming into the bidding process, we have basically utilized the entire amount. Now, that's not to say if a business comes to Trumbull County and would like to apply for more funding, we can do that. But I just wanted to clarify that, because I know it was an issue. There was an issue with the bid submission, but it was minor. And I believe that the commissioners had and I think Bill stated this in his email that was attached to the original, memo that I sent, that it's an administrative decision. Does that sound right, Bill? Okay.
18, enter in a non-reimbursable extension agreement for the extension of a sanitary sewer in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code with Tim Arbogast for Hickory Ridge Villas Phase 2, Highland Township, Trumbull County Combined Sanitary Sewer District, Kettle Creek Subdistrict, known as Project 1, S24, subject to the approval of the prosecutor's office, and approved detailed sewer drawings of Tim Arbogast for the extension of a sanitary sewer for Hickory Ridge Villas Phase 2, Highland Township, Trumbull County Sanitary Sewer District, Kettle Creek Subdistrict, known as Project 1S24, subject to approval of Ohio EPA. Gary Newbrow?
Yeah, Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. Commissioners, this is a private extension for a condo development. Here at the intersection of North Road, North River Road, and head north on North Road, up toward where, it makes that left, that kind of dead end left, or whatever you call that. Before you get there on the left side, there is this Hickory Ridge Villas, and there's already some condos in there, but they're expanding that. And we're looking at a sewer line for this new addition in here. There's about 22 new condos gonna go in there.
Oh, wow.
But it's private extension, they're paying
It's
for
a
it.
private extension, it's all paid for by them.
Condos are not,
This is
they're not
North Road here.
under our authority.
Condos here, they're adding in this.
Oh, nice.
So we got additional housing in the
Yeah.
county.
I didn't even know there was that much green space back there.
Well, you can see they squeezed it in pretty tight. Had to put a retaining pond in here for the runoff. So,
Is that the Bezetta one?
So that'd be behind like Tractor Supply and that plaza there.
somewhere in that area, yes.
Is that in Bezetta, Gary?
No, it's in Howland.
It's kinda weird there, you got Allen Warren and Bezetta interchanging like.
Yep, right there at that North River Road, juncture there.
Okay, and finally, to award the lowest and best bid response to enter into contract with utility contracting, Bezetta and Mecca wastewater treatment plant nutrient reduction project, with a bid amount of $1,536,000. Contract to be paid directly from Ohio EPA Water Pollution Control Loan Fund.
Hi, Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. Yes, commissioners, this is that project where, the Corps of Engineers stepped in and told us they didn't like our quality of our effluent going out into the Mosquito Lake. So we had to do this nutrient reduction, which, reduce the amount of phosphorus and nitrogen that goes out into the lake off of our discharge. And, we are going to use a loan through the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund to pay for it. As you can see, the lowest bid was this $1,536,000. It was actually above the engineer's estimate, but it was not more than a certain percentage above that engineer's estimate, so it was considered a qualified bid.
Okay, what exactly are they gonna do for $1.5 million?
There's additional, filters that we have to go in there and, install, make modifications to, I wanna say, the settling tanks and the clarifiers. So it's additional, the length of the treatment process, that it now has to be lengthened.
Once this is completed, can we accept more customers? Can we, I mean, as far as like the fairgrounds and that goes, I know that that's on the horizon.
Well, there's
Get
still,
sewers out there, but,
yeah, there's still some capacity available on both of these plants. It didn't increase.
These are package
It didn't, yeah, these are package plants. There's still available capacity, and I know for sure the, Bezetta plant, the one over on Sterling Drive, and there is enough adequate capacity for the fairgrounds for that.
but we definitely need to do this before anything,
Yes,
because we're
yes.
not.
It wouldn't be money better spent just to extend the sewer line from 305 up to Sterling Drive and tie it into our sewer system, instead of into the package plant and flowing into the water.
As I mentioned to you before, Commissioner, to get that line from Sterling Drive down into our collection system behind the Walmart, that's where the nearest interceptor is, we need a large interceptor in order to make that happen. We're talking,
And a large customer base,
yes,
be able to pay for it.
right. Yeah, we're looking at, you know, in the order of tens of millions, not millions, to make that happen.
Somehow come up with that price would be, because we have been working with Senator Vance's office, Sherrod Brown's office. We just had that big meeting in Mosquito. For us to ever be able to do that, to extend that sewer to the fairgrounds, extend sewer up Bezetta Road, you know, we need to know what the price tag is, what we're asking for.
Okay.
Because we're asking for money all the time. There's different infrastructure grants, and there are possibilities of getting that money according to both offices, that they'd like to help us, but we need a price tag. We need to know what
Okay.
we're asking for.
All right. I
I
will.
know you can't pull it out of your head or whatever, but if you can at
Right.
least start ballparking, what it would cost to get us to the fairgrounds, what it would get us to go beyond the fairgrounds, potentially to Route 88 on both sides of the lake. That's something at least to work towards down the road of, that we know whether we need $20 million, or we need 60 million, or 100 million, or, you know, whatever it would take to do that in your estimation.
Okay, Commissioner, I'll work.
We don't know if we can afford the car until we see the sticker price on the car.
Okay.
Okay. That concludes the, regularly scheduled business, short agenda for this week. Do we have anything from the department heads or from the floor?
Number of things, is that okay? if I go first?
Absolutely, Julie, absolutely.
Julie Green, Trumbull County Planning. Last week at the workshop, I spoke briefly about our Clean Ohio application that is in progress. It is due September 13th to Eastgate. It is going to assist us, in addressing one of the properties identified in the 2020 FEMA violation. We finally received some final numbers from our consulting firm that we've been working with all this time on those FEMA audited properties. And it's been determined that we would be, requesting up to $15,000 as local match from the commissioners in order to satisfy the minimum match requirements for this grant. And so I'll be submitting that on Thursday, and then it would be on the agenda for next week for your review and consideration. We've been working on this for several months, and throughout the process, we're operating under the understanding that the local homeowner would be donating at least a portion of the fair market value, and they stated that that was not their understanding. And so in order for us to continue along and apply for these funds, we reworked the budget, tried to work with MS Consultants to identify costs already incurred and projected costs that are already encumbered through the ARP contract with MS, and this is the number that we arrived at. And so, we are, in order so that we sort of don't lose out on all of the work that we've already done on this particular issue, we would like to ask the commissioners.
So would the local match be coming out of ARPA or out of the commissioners' funds?
We already have identified the majority of the local match. The local match required for this total project, which is estimated at around $450,000. We are required to show $116,000 plus. We've already identified the majority of that. We are just short $15,000. So what we're requesting now is, and we'll present all of that, this Thursday, to Lisa through the portal, and then for your consideration for approval next week through whatever fund is available to fund something like that. That's our request.
That is an eligible ARPA fund though, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, but I don't think we can wait for that process. If you wanna get, is there a timeliness of this to do that?
Well, in terms of ARPA funding allocated towards this project, that has already been approved by, for that agreement with MS.
But not the amount,
But not for
this
the Clean
amended amount.
Ohio grant, yeah. Clean Ohio grant would be a separate, basically, not separate, but it's
So
not,
essentially, it has been approved. So wouldn't it have to go through
Somewhat.
the approval process, or what?
I
Well,
can't speak to
So
that.
it's
Yeah.
Attorney Rogers' question, I
Yeah.
guess.
It is Martha, you're a Trumbull County auditor, it is an Attorney Rogers question, and it would probably require an additional resolution that she would have to provide, similar to what we're dealing with, making some changes on the sanitary project.
And
That would
so,
be my guess.
I guess given the short time frame, and again, I like to do things in advance, this is just new information that we just weren't counting on, and that's why we're coming to the commission asking for a commitment of $15,000 so that we can at least apply for the funding. If it's not awarded, of course, then you wouldn't be, responsible for paying that, but if it is awarded, then most likely the funds would be required in 2025.
We've seen this through to this point. I think we need to continue on this same path, make sure that we're getting all the funding that we possibly can.
Right, and this is a solution to an ongoing problem that has been, something that has been sort of neglected for the last 30 years.
So what's our best route then? We try the ARPA route, do we spend the energy and time into that, or do we pull it from somewhere else?
How soon of a turnaround could we get on an answer from Attorney Rogers? I don't know,
Martha, you're a Trumbull County auditor, I think what Julie is asking for is just a commitment of the funds, no matter, without necessarily,
Okay, yeah.
without necessarily designating where they're from. I can, in the meantime, ask Attorney Rogers about this, and Julie, I may need your help in wording that.
Absolutely.
But I'll be glad to do that, and we can see if that is an option and how quickly we can get an answer.
Perfect.
Thank you, Mark.
Yep, I agree then, let's move forward with it, give you the commitment that you need. And, we're this far into it already.
Yes.
That's the last 15,000, we can't let it fall by the wayside with all the work you did.
Thank you. Well, it's a staff effort for sure. We've been working on it for several months. And I did find, additional information on your question about the affidavit that we discussed last week. It was not signed by Mr. Ruan.
Okay,
David
perfect,
Ruan.
yeah, I saw correspondences and email,
Correct.
very good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Another item that is on the horizon is we have 3 planning commission members, terms expiring at the end of the year. That's, the board's, under the board's authority to, appoint or reappoint members under 71322. This particular year, 2 of the 3 are City of Warren and Howland Township, which is a home rule township. And so under 713, the commissioners request recommendations from the largest city, which is the City of Warren, and they also request recommendations from Howland Township and/or Liberty Township. And then they make a decision on who they would like to recommend to the commissioners. And so we have already drafted letters to that effect, and we'll mail those out on behalf of the commissioners and copy, Lisa Blair. But we also have an at-large member whose term is expiring at the end of the year. And in the past, the commissioners have opted to advertise for that position. And we will share, you know, those documents, those template documents with your office, and, you know, just keep us informed as to what you would like, additional duties you would like us to take.
So obviously, the 2, Allen Township and/or Liberty Township, and then Warren, City of Warren, but the third is an at-large?
Right.
And who's that? Are they reapplying, do you know?
So that at-large position is James DeCenzo. He had resumed the, term for
Bernie Carpenter.
Vernon Carpenter.
Okay. All right.
Do we know, where Melissa lives?
Oh.
Phillips?
I think she lives in the City of Warren.
Yes, she does.
Because I would highly recommend, she's been sitting on the board representing Commissioner Frenchco.
Mhm.
Commissioner Frenchco, of course, is not gonna be part of the board for next year.
Mhm.
So we will have a commissioner incoming or whatever that will take that seat, and will probably attend, I would imagine themselves, not have a proxy. And if Warren were to go along with her, I think she's been a good asset at the meetings, so.
Yeah,
And the mayor makes that recommendation
Yeah,
to us?
that's, the mayor will send you their recommendation from the city, and I'm not really sure if, you know, legally speaking, Phil would have to speak to this, potentially not today, I know I'm not putting you on the spot, but typically in the past, how it works is the city would make the recommendation and the commissioners would accept it, but if you chose not to accept it, then that would be legal.
I guess I'm just putting my 2 cents worth.
Oh, yes,
She's
yeah.
been
Right.
good on the board,
Yeah.
And
and
maybe that can be relayed to the mayor.
for her to be, yeah, that's what I'm publicly stating, that she has been an asset
She
to
is
the board,
excellent.
but she's not representing herself.
Yes.
And if she would like to stay, I think she's done a good job with the board and would earn the right to at least be considered for that.
She is great, I agree. The next item I wanted to share with, Alex, because I know you've been talking about this. I wanted to let you know that all of our personnel files, albeit we only have 7, are up to date and complete, according to all of your instructions, and we appreciate that, by the way.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. And then I just wanted to, also go over the revolving loan fund one more time. Gary had asked us to ask the commissioners and the state to commit up to 200,000. Did you happen to see the email that I sent?
Yeah, it looks like we're good to go.
Yeah, so even though we haven't officially applied for it, it is an eligible activity to use up to 200,000 for household connections in the Meadowbrook
Good.
low-income area. So you can schedule your public hearing. It's just, I don't feel it's a very good time to apply for those funds right now and
Right,
get
right.
people income qualified, because it's not going to be needed until probably, what would you say, late 2025, early 2026?
Well, it's the completion of that package plant down there, that may take 2 years. So,
Okay, so,
anyway, yeah, on that one, Commissioners, with that, I have tentatively scheduled the Meadowbrook public hearing for October the 3rd. I've already talked to LaBrie School, I got the permit in for that, I talked to Amy, over here to see if you all were open for it, but, that resolution will be on next week's agenda, announcing that public hearing.
Very good.
And now we're able to go to, because I can say in that fact sheet, yes, we will have money for those who qualify by income for a house.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yes.
that's it, thank you.
Okay. My calendar.
Or you have another public hearing coming up.
Yes, we have,
Well,
Stillwagon Road, water.
When is that, Gary?
Do I have that with me? It's in the
September
September 12th.
September.
September 12th, we got,
Okay, yeah.
we got it.
And, that one's critical to know if there's any ARP funds that's gonna come loose from that,
Yes.
yes.
if nobody else has anything, I do have one more piece of nice thing to say. I was, working late one day last week, I can't remember what day, and unfortunately, this is not the good part, there was a 3-car crash right below my window. I look out and I see that the one car's airbag had deployed and one of our employees from child support rushing to the car.
Oh, my God.
I just thought, wow, what a great person. So I called Danny to find out his name and,
And it was an employee who was in the accident as well.
I know, well, I didn't wanna share that, but yeah, I don't know their name.
I'm not gonna go into
Yeah,
details, but
but the employee
it
who
was
worked,
nice to see that.
yeah, who works
Your
for
point.
the county, just rushing to, immediately, just, 'cause I was right there, my window's right there. So,
Hopefully everybody's okay.
I heard everybody's okay, but it was just really, I thought, wow, what a great guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he wants his name publicized, but.
I agree. Thank you, Julie. Alex Stephen Jonesy Bush, I found out about it and followed up with the, department yesterday to check in on the employee, and they are okay. Thank God. But I do appreciate recognizing that, because I had gotten some pictures, and there was a lot of county employees who stopped to check on that employee,
Yeah.
which is that means a lot.
Mhm.
Commissioner, we also do have, Ms. Rita Tate here. I know you were wanting to speak. You texted me that you wanted to come to the workshop, so.
I did.
Rita, the floor, if that's okay, Commissioner, the floor?
Yep, let's go, give her the microphone.
This one?
Yeah, but
Well, we need it for the
we need it
record,
for the
your
record,
name
because
for
it's
the
being
record.
recorded.
Is it on?
Good morning.
Good
Oh,
morning.
is that,
Is it on?
Good morning.
there we go.
There you go. My name's Rita Tate, I'm with Best Purpose. We're right down at 710 Highland. Please excuse the attire, please, because I was delivering this morning. So, please, excuse the attire. But I come to you because we had our ribbon cutting last Wednesday, and it was wonderful. Chamber of Commerce was there. I just had a few concerns. I need to let you guys know that I do have 3 members from Trumbull County on my board. Bishop Heron, his wife, Lady Brenda Heron, and Deshaun Scott from D5 Group. And I just wanted to let you know I've blended both Mahoning and Trumbull County in my board so that I am following all the rules and regulations. I need to let you know, when I first brought Best Purpose here to Trumbull County, I was at 47 families. As of today, we're at 136 families, getting 16 since last Wednesday on our ribbon cutting just here in Trumbull County. I had 10 before I even got my ribbon cutting here in Trumbull County. I'm not going to turn away nobody. So what I did was just go out and beg for donations and beds and what have you, because no kid should sleep on the floor. So that's what I'm doing. Today, I delivered 4 beds here in Trumbull County. But when I say my application has been for the ARP funds since March, and it's been on a bubble, and then to be told that it's an afterthought, I'm never going to get the funding, that was disappointing at my ribbon cutting.
Who said that?
Ms. Frenchco came to my ribbon cutting, and she stated that I'm not going to even see any funds, but I'm here in Trumbull County helping so that I can help Trumbull County the same way I'm doing 120 families in Mahoning County since September 1st. So
I'm asking if you would just please look at my application and know that I'm not here trying to get a salary. I'm just here trying to change lives and empower people. 70% of my people I've helped in Trumbull County and Mahoney County, I've gotten employed. I make them responsible, and I wanna know what their sustainability is. Once I come in your household and get you your kitchen table, your chairs, your bedroom, all your necessities, what is your sustainability after we as Best Purpose come and help you? Do you got a job? Do you want a job? What are you gonna do? Do you wanna go to college? I help you with your FAFSA. I help you get into college. I help your children get into the dorms. Our business is just not helping people find housing. It's not just for helping people find furniture. My furniture usually is next to new. It's not something you wouldn't want in your household. So I'm just saying, I want Trumbull County to love on me the same way I'm here loving on you guys. Get behind me, help me with these ARP funds so that I may be able to make a difference in Trumbull County. That's all I gotta say, sir.
Rita, thank you, and I wanna say that I was out to I apologize, I missed the ribbon cutting, but I have been out to the facility, and I see the sweat equity that you guys are putting in. I think it's a fantastic program. I think we should send it over to legal. I mean, I had some questions about financials and, board membership and that sort of thing, but, you know, we'll never know unless we send it over to legal to get an opinion. That's not to say that, you know, that'll be granted or not granted, it's just, let's move it to the next step, and I think that's where I am right now.
And for say we're never gonna get,
Yeah,
that's
it's
not a
ridiculous.
nice statement on her part, because we have the process, we said what the
Yeah.
process is, we have the yeses, we've got the maybe list, and we said we're gonna address it, and we meant it when we said it, that this is a valid,
Absolutely.
a valid application, but there are other applications, is all we meant by that, that we have to readdress as a board when we're gonna sit down and move the next ones from maybes to yeses, and then evaluate the new ones that came in after the deadline, which this is one of them. So in no time did we ever say no to it.
No,
In no
never.
time. In no time did we ever imply no. It's just the process is what it is. If we were to skip around the process, she'd be the first commissioner criticizing us for skipping around the process with the other applications. So, that's just politics being played with that there, but I don't think for a second, we're not gonna address the thing seriously and consider it. We just have to follow the standards of what we did with all the other causes we have out there to make sure we stay up to our word and we move the yeses forward, which we just did. I think we went to the end of our yeses.
Well, we have, Marcia, Trumbull County Auditor. We have completed all the ones that were in the queue, but now we have some of that frozen, applications for some of that frozen money coming. So I actually have one added now below the yellow in the sheets that you've got, and I can talk about that when I do.
And that's okay, we knew that, but we had to get to those
Right,
first.
we have, currently have 10 sitting on her desk that she's working on. We had, one that was ruled ineligible that I need to know if we're going to put it as frozen. We also have several that have frozen money that are still working on getting requests to us. So, that's sort of where we're at. We do have also have other maybes that are on that maybe list that you haven't looked at. You know, you looked at everything up to the deadline, and I can't tell you off the top of my head how many after that. I don't know if you want to think about doing, another review at this point, because we're so close to the end, especially because of the timeliness. We are gonna have to start working through these a little more quickly, and we're doing the best we can, but we've got to the end of the year to do these awards. I don't know if you want to do that, if you guys want to schedule something and look at the ones that you haven't looked at already.
My thoughts were to
Or
get to
maybe-
the end of these yeses to see which are approved and which aren't, so we have a real number of what's left.
Right.
Is it 800,000, is it 400,000, is it 1 million? We don't know the exact number until we get these yeses
Correct.
through,
Correct,
to see what's gonna be approved or not. The Colbert's a big one, that's 300,000 right there.
right,
And if that gets denied, that's a world of possibilities,
Right.
$300,000. So that's something we need those
That's
answers,
fine.
because I don't wanna short you either and say, well, we only have this much, so we'll give you this much out of it. If we have a bigger amount,
Well-
then we can be a little more generous with.
Well, one of the things then, Marcia, Trumbull County Auditor, that I would recommend, because we are starting to get a little bit tight, is those ones that are frozen, that we think about setting deadlines for them, so that we can just move forward and finish this list.
Do we have a sheet with the frozen ones on it?
Yeah, all the blue on your sheet.
All the
All right,
blue,
and
okay.
I'll review those really quickly,
Okay.
so you guys, if you wanna, if it's okay for me, to just go into mine.
Can we wait to do that to the end? Because I think we need to sink our teeth in the ARPA a little bit more than what we normally do.
Sure,
I think we need to do is give it
That's
a
fine.
fair diligence.
that's fine.
Thank you
Thank-
very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So don't give up hope with this, we're just
I'm
following the
not.
process, and don't be misled or believe the hype.
Thank
Anybody else? Mike Salamone.
Thank you, Commissioners. Mike Salmo, Trumbull County Transit Administrator, where's the mic?
Microphones.
Right here. Mike Salmo. I don't know if it's on. Mike Salmo, Trumbull County Transit Administrator. Just wanted to let you know, I sent you an email Friday regarding the public meeting for transportation of WRTA. I'm working with Lisa, we're gonna schedule it for September 25th, from 1 to 2:30, the times that we're thinking. And I've already talked to Amy, she's gonna block that out for you on your schedule. I've already talked to Dean Harris, he will be here. I've talked to people at the city of Warren, not sure who will be coming from the city of Warren, but somebody will definitely be coming from the city of Warren.
Is it a public meeting, or is it
This will be a public meeting. So I will put a, agenda together for the meeting. But, do I have to send you an agenda item to put on?
you just have to notify the press of the public meeting?
Okay. Lisa and I were already talking
And
about-
we'd like an agenda prior to it.
Right, no, Lisa and I were talking about that, we're planning on sending it out about 10 days before, on the 15th.
Maybe a little earlier than that.
Right, and I will get an agenda together.
Very good.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. Anybody else have anything?
All right.
Okay, let's go to ARPA.
Martha Yoder, Trumbull County Auditor. Number one on your list, eligible, ineligible, and updates. Hubbard Township emergency generators was denied. This is similar to the other emergency generators issues that have come up. I put this on your sheet. You'll notice it's in red at the bottom of the red ones, but I left the amount in there because I didn't know if you wanted me to freeze it or not. And so and ask them to resubmit something else. They have not, Hubbard Township has not received any award. They do have, the Eagle Joint Fire District that they're part of, which has something sitting on, Attorney Rogers' desk.
Yeah,
An ambulance.
Absolutely, we need to freeze that
All
for
right.
Hubbard, if they,
So-
they're too important to
All right.
Yes, of course,
Okay,
of course.
so for Hubbard, and I will, notify them, do we want to set a deadline for submitting a new request?
I think if we gave them 30 days, that
I
should
mean, that's
suffice.
more than enough time, yeah.
Okay,
I'm sure they can,
all
they
right,
got a number of things that they can fund.
all right.
Julie Green, Trumbull County Planning. Martha, we just got new LMI maps for the whole county, and the city of Hubbard has some new areas that are LMI.
This is Hubbard Township.
Hubbard
Township,
Township does
okay.
also.
Okay,
And so, I'm just stating that that might be something that they maybe hadn't thought of, that the ARP monies can be used for all CDBG activities in an LMI area. And I think that would be a very fast approval, if that's something that, you know, maybe they can think of. And I can even talk to, Bill about it. If you want me to call him, I will. But I hate to have people keep going back and forth, trying to figure out how do we get our ARP money.
Why don't we talk after,
Yeah,
and we'll see what we can
absolutely.
do, all right?
Yep.
Thank
And that
you.
goes for the rest of the county as
I
well.
appreciate that.
Sure.
The ones that are still pending, with Attorney Rogers currently are the Colberg Lake Dam Study, Failing Community Services Scope, Allen Township, Hubbard City, Community Family Outreach, Bloomfield Township, Eagle Joint Fire District, Howland Township Fire, Southington Township Fire, and Gustavus Township, which is a cemetery, research or survey. Number 2 on your list, I apologize, I should have removed that, it was from last week. Number 3 on your list, Kinsman Township did submit a request for the frozen money that they have. The only issue that I have, and I actually moved it, I believe I did, yeah, I moved it from the frozen to, to the bottom of the list, awaiting approval. The only question I have on this is, they did, the frozen money was just slightly less than the actual request, and it's like $245. Do you want the money, the amount listed as what was requested, or the amount frozen? Do you want to go with the higher amount or the lower amount? If you'll see there,
Wait.
they requested $34,750, and their frozen amount was $34,504. It's at the very bottom. You see
We're at on
in the white, if you look.
Oh, I
Is that
see,
right? It's okay.
I was looking at yellow. Okay,
All right,
sorry,
yes,
thank you.
because we haven't turned it into her yet.
Gotcha.
So it's just a little bit more, I mean, we could,
Yeah, I mean, you're
whatever
talking
you want.
a couple $100, right?
Yes. Commissioner?
I agree.
That's
All right.
fine.
All right. All right, number 4 on your list, Gustavus, Farmington, Mespo, Bristol and Bezetta have frozen money. I should have taken Bristol off of this as well, because Bristol actually resubmitted their ambulance request, but, Bezetta is in the process of an agreement on their road project, so they're okay, they're moving along, we don't have to worry about a deadline. Farmington and Mespo have been talking to the county engineer about a road request, and they have some things identified apparently. Gustavus is working on requests, they say. Bristol resubmitted their ambulance request. Would you like that Bristol request after the Kinsman request on the yes list?
That's
Or,
fine.
okay,
That's fine.
all right, okay. And then with regard to the others, because we talked about trying to move things along, would you like me to set, Farmington and Mespo at least are talking to the engineer, and I can try to kind of push that along a little bit, but Gustavus is still working. Do we want to just ask them or give them a deadline of 30 days, like we did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And then on the other ones, I'll work that along, because I do know that they've at least contacted the county engineer. So I know that they're at least in process, they're not trying to decide something. All right, but I will use my nudge power a little on them too. All right. Minus, 30 days. All right. You were given, both the updated allocated and promise sheet and the yes sheet. I've kind of went over a little bit already on the yes sheet. On the allocated and promised, I do want to just call your attention to what we've already spent, out of what we've allocated and what we have actually encumbrances on. We've paid out a total of $21,285,189.69 so far, and we've encumbered we currently have encumbered $6,273,841.71 for a total of $559,031.40 of expenditures encumbrances to date. You also have a bottom line spreadsheet, which I always include, and the current amount that we have available, you know, if every single thing is approved, that we have, all the frozen money is used, and all the money that we've allocated already is used, is $792,535.31.
That's if everything is funded.
Everything, correct. And, you know, as we've said, as we get down, you may have to, some of these requests that are on the,
Maybe.
on her desk that get denied, at some point, some of them may have to just be denied,
Yeah,
because we're getting so
we're
close
getting so
and not
close.
freezing any money. But we'll just keep moving along. I do want to let the commissioners know, I know it's a little bit further out, but I will be out of my office from September 16th to, September 26th. I will, set with you guys at a meeting that's closer to that, how you want me to handle things, how we want to handle things while I'm gone. But I have some ideas, but we'll, as we get closer and we know where we're at with things, that's it.
Where are we, I got inquiries the last 2 days from Lordstown.
I have two, yeah.
They were on the, everything that they submitted
on
is
the
on the
maybe
maybe list.
Okay.
If it's not here, it's on the maybe list.
Okay.
And I think that their initial ask was a rather large ask.
It was,
But
and
they're willing to, you know, take whatever we can, you know, manage to assist.
from the correspondence, you probably get the same ones. They got a new council member, things were done before she was there. She's inquiring about, you know, why they haven't gotten any money and what was done and what wasn't. I gave her the info, what it was, and they, sent correspondences back and wanted to know the status, so. Report back to her that it's still on the maybe list.
At some point, we may wanna set a date for the maybes to go over, maybe at a workshop.
Well, that's what we were just talking about, kind of at the beginning, we need to set another, once we get through the yeses, we need to set a meeting of, okay, now how
This is
much
what
we
we
have
got.
left, now let's go to the maybes and let's figure it out from there.
Agreed. Right. Anybody else?
Anybody else have anything for the good of county?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second that?
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.